The psychedelic revolution is here. If you want to integrate your visionary experiences into your purpose, get clear on your entrepreneurial path, and help people while you do what you love, then this podcast is for you. Welcome to The Psychedelic Entrepreneur, Medicine for These Times. I'm your host, Beth Weinstein. I'm a spiritual business coach, 3-time entrepreneur, and a lifelong student of psychedelics and sacred plant medicines. You carry your own unique medicine, and your medicine is what we need for these times. This podcast will help you to share your medicine so you can create transformation in the world. Listen in on conversations with psychedelic leaders, changemakers, and conscious entrepreneurs who are living proof that a better world is possible when you follow your heart and live in alignment with your soul. Welcome back to Medicine for These Times. Tomorrow is my birthday, and I'm recording this not in my podcast studio. No microphone, so I apologize if there's not the most ideal sound quality, but I feel like just riffing on life right now because I just came back from the most amazing trip in Egypt and threw myself a big party, and tomorrow is my birthday. And wow, what an incredible time to be alive on planet Earth right now. I'm going to put this on for a second. My friend gave this to me at my birthday party this weekend. So I thought I'd share this beautiful crown. It's quite heavy, but it's very nice. It's really interesting. I've never really been into birthdays, but the last few years I've been really trying to put an effort to celebrate myself because frankly, I did not think I would live to see this age at the rate I was going when I was quite younger. For those of you that have been following me a while, I've shared my story and, it really wasn't that bad, but I definitely started doing my fair share of kind of destructive patterns at a quite young age. But as I always put it, I did always get good grades. I did pretty well. I did always play sports, but I was doing drugs and on the path of what I would call subconscious self-destruction. And thankfully, I'd had numerous spiritual awakenings at quite a young age and always knew there was something way more to life than we were being told. And I would like to thank my first dose of LSD at the age of 14 for making me quite aware of that. And I would also like to thank the mysterious man named Turtle who gave me that dose at the age of 14. And he told me, you have to take it right now, even though my curfew is in about 30 minutes. So I think I've published a blog post on this, how this guy who I didn't really know made me put a tab of acid on my tongue at a youth dance club, and I had to be home by 10 p.m. because I was only 14. And didn't think anything of it. The acid kicked in when I was brushing my teeth to go to bed. I completely forgot I had taken it and did not really know what to expect. And I spent my entire first ever LSD trip laying on my bed in the quiet in my bedroom, just contemplating life because I couldn't make noise, I couldn't play music, and didn't really know what else to do other than just kind of go inward, which I am internally grateful for that experience because I remember having a complete and total awareness that there was much more to life than we were being told. So, as I mentioned, I've just come back from Egypt, which has also been a dream of mine to go to since I was 14 when my dad went to Egypt without us. I think he had just announced, like, I'm going to Egypt, bye. And I remember being like, wow, I'm really upset you're not bringing me. But, why would he bring a 14-year-old or an 18-year-old brother? And I finally went to Egypt a few weeks ago, and I'm blessed to have gone with some leaders that are amazing, including Veda Austin, who I recently interviewed. And if you haven't listened to that interview, please listen. It was just amazing. And I went with some friends and met a huge amount of incredible people from all over the world. But, I didn't quite know what to expect. And the one thing I will say is being there definitely activated something in me, and it reinforced the knowing that we create our realities. And it's just so interesting to watch the world that we live in and how many people really live their life in this stuckness and fear and doubt and really are not the conscious creators of their life, their reality, their work. And I get it. I do understand the programming and how deep it runs. And I also understand the need for survival. This false belief that we must do work that we don't like to survive, or sacrifice ourselves, or not be true to our hearts. And, seeing these ancient temples with hieroglyphics that are, anywhere from 2 to 10,000 years BC old. They don't quite know, but it's, 7,000 BC. Some say 10,000. And there are stories being told, and these are the stories of our human power and our life here on Earth, and the cycles of time and the cycles of astrology and the Earth's movement through the cosmos, and the divine feminine, the divine masculine. And, it's like literally written in ancient knowledge that we have the internal power within us to create anything we want. And it's just so interesting. I was looking through photos to create some reels for my birthday, which I try to do each year, is like create at least one reel. And I found some old photos, and it's so incredible to look back on my life and think, wow, that was only yesterday, or that was only, 15 years ago or 20 years ago. And to see how far we are able to come, and to look back on myself as that 14-year-old contemplating the future of my life. I knew at a pretty young age what I was here to do, but I had to take a lot of U-turns to get there. Totally sidetracked. But to reflect on where I am right now in my life, and to see, like, on some level, I have actually created the reality that I knew I was going to live at a young age. There's a lot more to it that I'm still creating and still, watching unfold, but to be witnessing a prayer, or witnessing a knowing, and, as they say, a remembering of who we truly are, is just so incredible. It's really amazing. I threw myself this amazing, beautiful party that I had been dreaming of for a few years. I live in an incredible community in the Hudson Valley. And for, I think, about 3 or 4 years, I said, I want to throw a party where I get everybody together. And, if I could have pulled off inviting about 200 people, I would have, but I actually couldn't swing it. So it was about 72 people. And, of course, there were many left out. And just to look around the room at one point and witness this community that's, we're all human. We're not perfect. This community is not utopia. Everybody dreams of these intentional communities where we're all, playing music and working with plants and dancing around. And the reality is we all have our shit. We all have our patterns, and we are all humans with collective and personal traumas. And we're all just so beautiful in our imperfections and our, our uniqueness. And to look around this constellation of 72 people and to think, like, wow, this is the community I have dreamed of since I was a teenager. Even though we're not living together on the same land, we don't share a farm, we're not, playing guitar every day, although, well, it's kind of getting closer to that. You know what I mean? It's not the intentional community that so many dream of. But, many years ago, someone said something to me about creating vibrational community. So much of the human wounding, the deep core wound of so many humans is this lack of belonging, which I think is actually, I believe it's a much deeper wound than belonging to one another. It's belonging to yourself, like on such a deep level of really knowing who you are and not giving your power away, and being so connected to yourself and source. And as I always add in earth, this channel that goes through you, where you are deeply, profoundly connected to earth, to your heart, to your sovereign self, to your soul, and knowing that there's something, beyond you guiding this whole journey. And I believe that, the deeper healing, which is a lot of the work I'm stepping into more and more, is, it's running in the not conscious, as my teachers say. I wouldn't even call it unconscious or subconscious, but it's not conscious. This deeper feeling of not belonging, not feeling safe, not feeling supported here on earth. And really, like, I think this affects every aspect of one's life, including your success, the money you make, the work that you're doing in the world, the happiness you have, the relationships you have, the community you're creating, the life you create. It's very hard to create your future reality of all you want if you don't even feel safe enough to exist. If you feel like you don't have the right to exist, if you unconsciously or not consciously feel like so disconnected that you aren't even present, that you're dissociated on so many levels. And I think, there's a lot of people that even feel like, oh, I'm totally embodied, I am associated, but they're actually not really associated. They're maybe spending most of their time in the other planes that are not really grounded here on Earth. And maybe because they're so spiritual, it's okay. They think it's all right. Oh, I'm just connected to my guides and my angels all the time. But it's like, are you really here living deeply and safely and profoundly embodied here on Earth? And I speak about all of this from experience. If you ask anyone that's known me for a long time, I have definitely been through it. I was, especially in my years of living in New York City, completely ungrounded, anxious, fear, nervous system overwhelm, like total just chaos, right? It was like a chaotic life, which at the time we all thought was a badge of honor. It was kind of like, oh yeah, you want to work 24/7 and just go, go, go and be completely ungrounded and disconnected. And I mean, that was almost like the right thing to do, is because everybody I knew was doing that. And we saw it as like a badge of honor. And it's just so interesting to coming into another journey around the sun and reflect on life and what is possible. And the one thing I will say, as someone who's lived it and been through it and also witnessed a lot of my clients go through this journey of really coming into what I would call soul liberation, like really being connected to your true self, your sovereign self, your soul, and tapping into your inherent power, and then really feeling safe enough to embody it and let yourself be seen in the world. And that is where everything starts to open up. And it's not just about business or money or getting clients or whatever it is. It's all of life. The prayers that you have for whatever your future holds is deeply connected to your sense of knowing that you belong here on Earth and you have a right to exist, and that you are safe to be grounded here on Earth and not just always be in some kind of escapism, whether it's through psychedelics or some spiritual practice or whatever it is, to actually be here and be present in this earthly journey, which is fucking hard. And we all know it. It's like it feels like the hardest time to be alive. And it doesn't have to be hard. There is a way to actually heal that wound too, where we can sit in the chaos and the grief and the uncertainty and, the meta crisis, as many call it here on Earth, and also be at peace with it and actually love it. And, really realizing that there is a greater plan here for your life and for the planet itself. And I do believe it is a choice. And this is the one thing coming out of Egypt. It's like literally written there for all of us to see. It is a choice for us to create how we want to live, how we want to feel. Yes, we can look around and say like, oh, everything's going to shit. Or we can look around saying, wow, we are creating this beautiful new earth right in front of our eyes, all of us together. And I do believe it is this journey of holding both, really learning. And I believe this is going to come up more and more and more. And it's been woven into so much of the work I teach with my clients and the deeper level transformational work I'm doing with clients with and without medicine as well, to really be able to hold the polarity of all of it. And it's going to get more and more intense as things change. I mean, at least that's what they say. And that also means that there's more and more opportunity for feeling joy and gratitude and love and beauty and community and pleasure. And it's this tantric experience of, expanding into both the depths of pain and grief and sorrow and sadness and tiredness and burnout, whatever else you're feeling. And at the same time, feeling the depths of beauty and pleasure and joy and all that's available to us. And I don't know why this is even coming through me right now. I have no idea, but this feels very alive and potent, especially, here I am having another birthday. It's always a time to reflect on like, what am I doing with life? What's next? Where am I going? And who knows, life could be over in an instant, or, maybe it's 50 years or whatever. Who knows what I have left? I don't know. Someone told me like, maybe you have like 60. And I'm like, oh my God, with our generation, who knows? We could live past 100. I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about that. But it's really about like, how do you want to live? And for me, my prayer, my dedication has always been the path of an open heart, even when it wants to close, even when it gets scared and sad and hurt and, feels like it doesn't belong or feels scared or whatever it is, the human experience, to really just recommit to like fully awakening into the experience of all of life and welcoming it all. And I have found the more that I do this, the more everything just gets easier. Welcoming the, let's see, like something not working out, or the potential client saying no, or, business is going through a hiccup, welcoming it in, like deeply trusting and being in the surrender path of like, okay, well, this is what's here now. This is it. And how do I just feel it fully and like experience living like the fullness of all, including what you don't want, and I really, this has been a practice of mine for many years, and I'm trying to deepen so deeply into it. Really watching my language around like good or bad or right or wrong or what I do and don't want, because really on some level, my soul wants all of it. And as a collective, we want all of what we're seeing. It's very hard for people to hear that, but this is the true shadow work, right? It's like, well, how much of our collective actually wants there to be gigantic wars where everybody is killing one another? It's here for us. It's part of our reality. And the more we just deny it, the more it's going to continue to play out. But what if we actually deepened into all of the experience of, our human awakening on this journey? So that's what's coming through. Let's see what else. I will say Egypt was incredible. I can't wait to go back there. It was definitely a deep process. I am eternally grateful for this path that I'm on. My dreams have been wild. The energy that was moving when I was there is like so intense. Definitely a lot happening before I left, especially in the couple months before I left. But I would say, it all started in about 2019 when I started getting a very clear vision that came to me in chanting practice and a meditation practice that showed me Sekhmet, who I didn't actually know was Sekhmet until I decided to go Google the image that I was seeing for, many weeks. And then over the last couple of years, especially the last year and a half, I've been getting bigger gifts coming in. I don't know what to name them. I don't like to have to name them, but, witnessing and observing my own work that I do with clients and the work that I do with the world opening up into bigger, deeper realms. And I'm really excited because I have seen the results with my clients. And, I don't even know what to name this, because it's not quite business coaching anymore. It's, as I'm calling it, is soul expansion coaching. That's kind of all I've ever been doing, is helping my clients purify and peel away these layers that are in the way of them just being their truest, most sovereign selves. And when they do this, which by the way it's not hard because I guide you through it. It's a very simple process. You just have to be willing to deepen in and feel it fully. And that might involve some crying and it might involve some joy, and it's all okay because I'm here holding you. But when I witness the results of what's happened in these sessions that I've been doing with clients, oh my God, it is just unbelievable. And I'm so grateful to be able to witness what I believe to be, it's like miracles, miracles happening when people come to me to start or grow their business or pivot and expand in some other realm, I have a couple of clients that are adding in group programs. I have clients that are moving from just one-on-one work into, kind of more public work, people that are maybe underground facilitators coming out and adding new offerings out there in the world. And to see them just opening up to what's next and who they truly are, and then see the results happening just easily and fast. And, there's never a guarantee that it's going to be easy and fast for everybody, but it is so beautiful to witness. And I can't even tell you how eternally grateful I am for being on this path. I think this transmission of this podcast episode is more a prayer of gratitude and reflection. And hopefully, if you're actually still listening to this, it's something for you to be inspired by, because, I am very often brought to my knees in tears of gratitude for this life, especially looking back on my upbringing and a lot of my ancestral trauma that I have spent my entire lifetime working on. Sometimes I just can't imagine that this is where I would end up, even though I knew on some level this is where I'd end up. But during those really hard times, during the downward spirals of, getting into the dark abyss of the hero's journey, I didn't think I would even be alive. I have one more day to make it till this birthday. And I didn't think I would actually make it at some point. It just felt like there were definitely some really dark moments where I would question my future or myself, and I was like, fuck this. Like, I don't even know if I want to live. And here I am, and I love life more than ever. And I can't wait to see what unfolds over the next few years. It's a very fascinating, interesting time to be alive, being in Egypt and witnessing everything I did there with everything else going on in, the world, the astrology, this 3-eye atlas. It's just freaking amazing. And I fully surrender in the deepest prayer and the deepest bow of gratitude to great creator, to this beautiful Pachamama, to my soul, to my community, to those around me that have, my teachers that have held me and taught me and still do. I'm eternally grateful for this path. And for you, if you're listening, if you're a follower, if you're someone who's worked with me or wants to work with me, I am eternally grateful for you. And, I just have the deepest bow of gratitude for life and this human journey that we're all on together. Many blessings. Thank you for being here. Lots of love. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you're feeling inspired, I'd appreciate it if you showed your love with a review. And check out my YouTube channel where you can find the video version of this podcast. You can also head to bethaweinstein.com to learn more about me and grab my free business growth trainings. Remember, you carry your own unique medicine, and your medicine is what we need for these times.